Ice baths are great for recovery, but are they good for fat loss? Hello folks, Scientific Health with AK here. Let's talk about this new study concerning ice baths and fat loss. But first, let us read the title of the study. Impact of cold exposure on life satisfaction and physical composition of soldiers. Everybody is interested in this study, and especially Dr. Andrew Huberman, who tweeted this study. The subjects of the study were 49 male and female soldiers in the Czech army. They aged between 19 and 30 years old, and they were assigned to two different groups, intervention and control. The duration of the study was 8 weeks of cold exposure, indoor and in outdoor environments. The participants in the control group were asked to be immersed in an open water source, like a stream, river, or a lake. As for the indoor environment, they used tubs or pools. They had to be immersed in cold water, indoor or outdoor, to their necks under 6 degrees Celsius. They had to be immersed in cold water for at least 30 seconds. The participants were also asked to take cold showers at least 4 times a week for at least 30 seconds, and the temperature was under 10 degrees Celsius. At the end of this 8-week period, they looked at body composition and life satisfaction scores. They also looked at other health metrics, but most of them were subjective. In the male soldiers, there was a decrease in waist circumference and visceral abdominal fat. They also found a reduction in reported anxiety. And they found an increase in sexual satisfaction. But there were some biased actions taken in here. The intervention group received 4 hours lecture about the benefits of cold exposure, but not the control group. I am not a scientist, but I know that you should give the same lecture to both the groups in order to invite the placebo effect. So here is the bias stuff that we talked about, that you are telling them indirectly or directly that there are improvements and benefits for cold exposure. Don't forget that the placebo effect is as effective as pharmaceutical drugs. What I mean is, if you are telling people that they are going to have benefits from this thing, then they might probably have benefits. Maybe the best thing is not to give the lecture in the first place, but to state that there are no dangers to cold exposure. Another thing about this study is that they showed that only male soldiers had reduction in waist circumference and visceral abdominal fat, but not the female soldiers. Again, I'm not a scientist, but I do read. Here's the good stuff. There was 4% decrease on the anxiety metric and 5% increase on the sexual satisfaction. But just remember, these metrics are highly subjective, and you cannot pull clear data from subjective metrics. But these subjective scores may have been affected by the lectures on the benefits of cold exposure. Again, bias. Just so you know, I'm not blaming anybody because errors happen and maybe the scientists did not realize that. I believe the decrease in visceral abdominal fat was due to the benefits of cold exposure. Again, because people who are exercising tend to work more on their diet. But hey, what do I know? If you like cold water immersions, go for it and don't listen to these haters. Check out the other videos about cold water immersions and hypertrophy. Spoiler alert, ice baths impede hypertrophy.